What's up, guys? Welcome to the demo of my personal health tracking spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet I've built over the course of several years. It's been a really useful tool to help me level up my health and fitness over time, and I'm excited to share it with you. I think it'll do the same for you. So, the purpose of this spreadsheet is to take all of the various data inputs that you're tracking through wearables, apps, and integrate them into a single personal health score that shows you how well you did against your own health goals. And the score is calculated on a weekly and monthly basis on this score tab here. This is like a dashboard for the spreadsheet. So let me run through how it works. What you're going to need to do is on this tab, there's a gray area where you're going to enter your daily goals. And so you're going to fill out this table here for all of these 5 health categories: weight, nutrition, which is number of fruit and vegetable servings, sleep, number of hours, step count, and exercise minutes. These are all on a daily basis. So these are daily averages that are going to be used to determine your score. So what you're going to do is, based on your own honest judgment, you're going to fill in each of these numbers based on what you consider poor performance to very good and excellent performance. And the very good bar is what we're shooting for. This is going to be your daily goal. And this is what you're ultimately going to be measured against. But you want to fill in the entire table so that the spreadsheet has more context around what you consider good and what you consider not so good. So, for example, for sleep, I put 5.6 hours as the minimum number because I consider that or anything below that to be very poor sleep. I put 8 hours as excellent. I consider 8 hours to be excellent sleep. And my target, what I'm shooting for, which is what I consider very good, would be 7.4 hours a night. Similarly with steps, I would consider a 4,000 step day to be very poor, a 10,000 step day to be very good, and a 12,000 step day to be excellent. So you just fill this into the best of your ability. You can always change these inputs later. And then your score will reflect the changes. But that's the beauty of the spreadsheet, is you can level up once you feel like you're exceeding your very good number constantly and you're consistently getting higher scores. You can increase the numbers to make them more challenging and level up over time. So how this works is you're going to enter all of your actual data from apps and wearables and so on in the data tab, which I'll go through. And then all of that is going to get summarized in these color-coded tables reflecting. So, for example, after you go through and enter all of your data for the week beginning January 1st, this row will be created with daily averages. And these daily averages are going to be measured against what you put in this table for your goals, ultimately against what you have for very good. And they're going to be weighted using the weights in this percent of score and calculation section. So you're going to want to fill this out as well. I recommend assigning a 20% weight to each of these 5 categories to start with, and that will sum to 100%. All of the weights will have to sum to 100% for it to work. And then you'll notice here, for myself, I assign 0% to the weight category and 25% to the other 4 categories because I'm not really trying to lose weight or gain weight at the moment. And so I decided to focus more on the other 4 categories. But for when you're starting out, if you have a weight goal and you're trying to improve in all of these areas simultaneously, I think it's beneficial to assign equal weight to each of them so that you're not overemphasizing or underemphasizing a single category. You could always change this later. Like I said, the inputs are dynamic, but that's where I recommend starting. So, like I said, you're going to have data inputs that you enter into the data tab, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. So this has many different daily inputs. The ones in the gray columns are going to directly impact your score, your personal health score. Like I highlighted those: weight, steps, exercise minutes, fruit and veggie servings, and sleep. The other ones are more optional, but still recommend keeping track of them, like your macronutrients, carbs, fat, protein. The formulas that are in the blue font, you don't have to mess with these. They just are calculated based off of the other inputs, so I just leave them alone. You just update the cells in black, and so each time you are ready to track your stats for a new day, all you're going to do is copy the last row of the spreadsheet down, and you'll change the date, and then you'll start entering all of your numbers. So you might have a scale that tells you your weight and estimated body fat percentage. You'll copy those numbers in here. You'll copy in the step count from your step tracker. You'll estimate the number of exercise minutes you had that day and enter that here. Same thing with fruit and vegetable servings. You could use, you might be using a calorie tracking app to track your calories and macros. So you're going to enter your macros in these cells. And then your sleep, you might have a sleep tracker that you're using. You just copy the number of hours you slept into this cell. And once you have all of those inputs, say for a given week, then those inputs, those daily averages, will be reflected in this tab in your personal health score dashboard, compared against your goals, and it will calculate a score for that week. So if you had a week where you were very close to these very good targets for all of these 5 categories, your score might be something like a 97%. If you exceeded all of these categories, your score would be 100%. And then if you didn't have a very good week, like for example, this week here, the week of May 20th, you can see I didn't have a very good week. My fruit and vegetable servings were below target. I didn't sleep very well. I averaged only about 6,700 steps a day compared to my goal of 10,000. And so as a result, and I didn't exercise very much at all. So as a result, my score for that week was only 51%. And so your score is going to vary from week to week. Some weeks are going to be better than others, but you're always shooting for as high a score as possible. And that's how you gamify the process through this spreadsheet. So your score is also tracked on a monthly basis in this table over here, and that allows you to identify your performance by month to date, which is helpful. It's kind of a zoomed out view of longer term performance, and that's useful too, to identify longer term trends. So I mentioned the data tab where you're going to put in all your inputs. The TDE tab is something you're just going to fill out once before you start tracking, and then you're never going to have to do it again. TDE stands for total daily energy expenditure. And so you're going to fill out all of these user inputs in the gray area here to help calculate your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, using the Harris-Benedict formulas. So you'll just put in your date of birth, gender, height in inches, and then weight in whether you want to select pounds or kilograms. And that's going to help calculate your basal metabolic rate, which is going to be summed with your activity calories, which is based on your step count to estimate your TDEE. And going to be reflected in these blue formulas in columns N, O, and P. Like I said, they're formulas, so you don't have to worry about messing with them. They're just going to calculate automatically based off of your input, and then your activity calories is going to be based off of your step count. I've outlined all of this on the documentation tab. I'm not going to go through this because I'm just talking through the steps on how to update the spreadsheet in this video. You can go ahead and read it. It's there for your reference. And one more thing is, if you're like me and eventually you have several years of data in this spreadsheet, then you're going to have quite a bit of information to analyze and assess your performance over a long period of time. So this cell right here reflects the current year's dashboard, but if you want to go back and look at a previous year, if you have more than 1 year of data, you would just change this cell to 2023, for example, and then that'll reflect everything that I've done in 2023. And you can go back even further. For me, I have data going all the way back to 2019, for example. So I can look at, say, 2020 and look at my score for the year. This is an aggregate score for that entire year compared to how well I did in 2023. And you can see the score of 82% versus 97% is measured against these current goals. So back in 2020, my actual score might not have been 82%. It might have been something higher, but I might have had lower goals. And so that's back to my point of leveling up your health over time and your targets over time. When you have several years of data in here, it allows you to see how far you've come. So you can see back in 2020, my average fruit and vegetable servings was only 3. Average sleep was only about 7 hours, and exercise was only about 15 minutes. Compared to 2023, all of those numbers are higher, which is great. That's what I want to see, is everything trending upward. And so that's all. That's an overview of the spreadsheet. Hopefully you found this helpful, and feel free to hit me up if you have any questions. If not, I'd love to see you use this, and yeah, let me know if you do, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks.